Namaste everyone, Jai Shri Ram. Welcome back to my show with your host and your host RJ Megha. I am back with another guest as usual, back with a power pack information, but also something that's very unique and not commonly talked about. She is an amazing individual with immense years of experience. I'm going to quickly give you a small introduction about her and we will bring her up on the stage for you in a minute. Dr. Madhavi Narsalay, she's an associate professor at the Department of Sanskrit University of Mumbai. She has an experience of teaching for more than 25 years. She is the deputy director of the Center for Hindu Studies. She has published 7 books, 35 articles. Her articles have been published in Oxford Journal for Hindu Studies, Monash University, Australia. Her area of expertise includes Veda, Dharmashastra, Arthashastra, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas. She has been consulted for television shows and serials on topics associated with Sanskrit and Indic studies. She participates in interfaith, interreligious dialogues and has visited Italy to represent Hindu Dharma. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Madhvi up with here live on Bharat TV. Namaste Madhvi ji. Good morning. How are
Namaste.
you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you, Megha?
Doing really well. Thank you for giving us your
Yes, yes.
precious time with
My
all the
pleasure.
immense work you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Madhvi ji. I want to first quickly know a little bit about you. How did you get into wanting to be deep into Hindu Dharma? Why Sanatan Dharma? What was your interest there?
Since childhood, I have been liking this field very much. And I used to read the Amma Chitrakatha and the Ramayana, the Mahabharata by Rajagopalachari. And then I took up Sanskrit in my school days and I fell in love with the language. And that continued over there. And so I took up my passion as my profession. And that's why I'm here.
Wow, that's fantastic. And do you ever feel like it's difficult to pass on Sanatan Dharma to people or to kids and all the students that you have been doing?
Uh, I don't think so, because if you put up things with interest, like what you're doing right now, so if you put up things with interest, we can see the Gen Z also getting attracted to this and looking forward to learn what is Hindu Dharma, what are the principles, what does Hindu Dharma stand for. So, how is the Hindu way of life? So, the associations with Hindu Dharma. So, all that I would say that if it is put up in the right sense, in the right manner, it does appeal to the generations which are right now, the younger generations.
Wow, I think you nailed it by using the word Gen Z. I'm sure you got a lot of ears and attention when you use that word. That comes with the experience of being a professor for sure. Okay, we
Because
will
I have
jump.
been doing some work on the television. So there was a television show on Mahabharata in from 2014 to 2016. So I had been a consultant for that, and so it was a journey where I could understand and sense what does the younger generation want. And so you can say that I have an approach where I try to appeal to the younger generation to know our culture.
That's fantastic. I'm sure that brings up a lot of questions, at least in my head, and also the listeners and the viewers. So I'm going to get right into the topic that we have
Yeah.
today. Who was Vidurji? And he's considered the sage of Mahabharata. So could we start with just understanding who is Vidurji?
Yeah, for that, I'll give you some background of the Mahabharata. See, there was a king named Shantanu belonging to the Kuru dynasty. He fell in love with River Ganga. Now, River Ganga is not just an inanimate thing in Hindu Dharma. She is a living goddess. So he fell in love with her. And I'll just be in brief, I won't stretch it out much. And she bore a child, Bhishma. Now, Bhishma was taken away by her, and he learned the Vedas, the archery, the weaponry, Dharmashastra from Parshuram, who was his mentor and guru. So he learned that and came back. Now it so happened that uh, Shantanu fell in love with a daughter of the fisherman called Satyavati, and he married her. Satyavati gave birth to two sons. One is Chitrangad and the other one is Vichitravirya. Now, when Chitrangad died, Vichitravirya took up the throne, and he got married to Ambika and Ambalika, the two princes from Kashiraj, from the kingdom of Kashi. Now they were widows. There was nobody to be the heir to the throne. So what is to be done? And so Satyavati tried to convince Bhishma, but Bhishma said that I had promised this, that to my father, that I will not marry and I will not bear children, and I will just give up my right to the throne. So I can't break my promise. But there is one way. In ancient times, if a man dies without bearing a child, or if a man is incapable of bearing a child, the wife can copulate with someone else belonging to, there are certain criteria, that he should be a good man, he should belong to the same community, or he should belong to the family. So all that. And so it was possible to copulate and bear a child, especially the male child, and the male child or any of the daughter will be the progeny of the husband of that woman. So Satyavati convinced her son, who was born earlier, called Bhadrayan Vyas, or he is also known as Veda Vyas, and he attempted to copulate with Ambika, but seeing the form of the sage, see, sages are not the typical, what you call it, metrosexual men. So they are from the forest, rusty and dark. So Ambika felt very scared and she closed the eyes in the process of copulation. So sage Vyasa said that the child will be born, who will have the strength of 10,000 elephants, but will be born blind. Satyavati was again very sad, and she said that a blind blind prince cannot become the king. So he copulated with Ambalika, but she turned pale while seeing him. So, now Sage Vyas again said that the child will be somewhat weak. So Satyavati requested Ambalika to take another chance, but Ambalika, in her place, sent her servant, dressed like a princess, and she worshipped Veda Vyas and happily copulated with him. And then he said that a son will be born, will be of exceptional intelligence, will be wise, will guide the Kuru dynasty, will guide the future of Hastinapur, and then he was known as Vidura. So this is the origin, the birth of Vidur in the Mahabharata. So but since he was born as a Dasi Putra, he could not ascend the throne.
Got it. Okay, okay. And that was going to be my next question is, if he's a king's son, then why not get the throne?
Yeah, because lineage is something considered to be very important, and genes of the man and the woman who are copulating should always be good, so that the progeny will be good. So as the fruit, if the fruit is pure, if the seed is pure, then the fruit will also be equally pure. That is the idea behind this.
Understood.
So since he's a Dasi Putra, he couldn't enthrone Hastinapur.
Understood. And what was his role with Mahabharata?
Now he was the advisor, or you can say not necessarily a chief minister because his position is not given, but he was the main advisor of Dhritarashtra. And the key role which he played was in advising Dhritarashtra and the Pandavas in certain, you can say, incidences which had happened. So in one incident is that Dhritarashtra bore the son Duryodhan.
Hmm.
Now when Duryodhan was born, there were absolute ill omens. So Vidur suggested Dhritarashtra to give up this son. You are having 99 other children. Why do you want this son who is showing whose birth is indicating ill omens and a calamity would befall on the dynasty? So give up this son and be free from any kind of trouble. This was the advice which Vidur gave. Vidur had got somewhat, you can say, and he empathized with the Pandavas very much.
Hmm. Well,
So
I do have that question ahead. Is it has been
yeah,
understood that Vidurji is very favorable and biased towards Pandavas, and that was I want to know the why for that.
yeah, I won't say necessarily biased. See, because Vidur, as it is said, has got a backstory. He Earlier there was a sage named Mandavya,
Okay.
and once it so happens, and the sage was in deep meditation, as you know. Sages would meditate for years together.
Right.
Now what happened was that there were some robbers who were running in the forest. Mandave was obviously in the forest, and these robbers were followed very closely by the guards of the king, one king. And this because the robbers had stolen the treasury of the king. Now, fearing for life, the robbers kept the booty in front of Mandavya and went away. The soldiers caught Mandavya, and king, being very angry, placed him on the top of a stake post. A stake post is a very sharp pointed post. If a person is placed on that, because of the sharpness, the person is torn apart. Such a type of a miserable death a person would get. So, but Mandavya, because of his power of penance, remained still on the sharp point.
Oh.
So the king realized his mistake and begged forgiveness for Mandavya. But Pandava had one thing in his mind. What is the reason due to which I have been subjected to such a kind of blame? So he
Hmm.
approached Yama, the Lord, or who's also known Dharma, the Lord of Death, and also one who understands Dharma. He will give us fruits as per the behavior which we are doing on the earth. So he questioned him and said, "What went wrong?" So Yama said that when you were young, when you were a child, you had inserted some sharp objects on the wings of the dragonflies. Therefore, you were in your earlier birth. So, in the next birth, that is the birth of Mandavya, you were subjected to be placed on a sharp object. Now, sage Mandavya got very wild with Yama because he said that I was young. I did not know what is dharma. I was extremely innocent. I did not know what is right and wrong. Yet you punished me. So I'll curse you that you will be born as a human being, but not in a upper caste, but in a low caste, and then you will suffer of humiliation a number of times. And so Yama incarnated himself as Vidur. Vidur used to give advice to the Dhritarashtra, but many of the times he was humiliated for his advice and blamed that he was siding the Pandavas. Actually, he sided the path of righteousness. The Pandavas were right in their behavior. They were gentle. They were, you can say, they were honest, and they were not arrogant, unlike Duryodhan and his brothers. So this was the reason. And secondly, the Pandavas were fatherless children.
Hmm.
Pandu had died in the forest, and Kunti had come with 5 children, fatherless children. So how should she raise them? That was a problem. And so Vidur had got a soft corner towards the Pandavas, but that was actually based on righteousness.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I don't think Madhaviji, anybody or in common knowledge, it is aware that Vidurji is none other than Yamji. I think
Yeah.
that's a big clarification of
Okay.
things that you've just given.
Yeah.
That's news actually. Okay. So how was Vidurji related to Kauravas and Pandavas? Like what's that family dynasty going like?
uh, though Vidurji was the son of a dasi, yet he was incorporated in the family of the Kauravas and the Pandavas.
Hmm.
And so Vidurji was like their kaka, their uncle. And so the interaction of the Pandavas and the Kauravas, as well as Vidur towards them, was like a family.
Okay.
Yeah. Though he was further, you can see not immediately in the Adi Parva or the other Parvas of the Mahabharata. Later on, you can see how Vidur is siding the path of Dharma and protecting the Pandavas. But earlier, it was a very cordial relationship, and he
Okay.
maintained a very good relationship with Bhishma also.
Hmm.
So Bhishma, Vidur, then further Dronacharya, who joined later on, Krupacharya, who was the Kula Guru of Hastinapur, of the Kauravas and the Pandavas, before the Pandavas separated from the kingdom. So this would be a team who would advise Dhritarashtra, who would guide Kauravas and the Pandavas to the path of Dharma.
Got it. Okay. All together.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay. So why was Vidurji considered the wise man? And what is Vidur Niti? I think I have both those questions.
Yeah. So, since he was the incarnation of Dharma, so he knew what is known as Dharma Shastra.
Okay.
What is Dharma Shastra? Now, basically, let us understand what is Dharma. In Hindu Dharma, I refrain from calling it as Hinduism or Hindu religion, because Hindu Dharma is more of a way of life.
Right.
And we don't have something like baptism to enter into Dharma. We are born a Hindu.
Right.
So I use the word dharma quite often. So in Hindu dharma, there is something known as doing your duty.
Hmm.
Duty has got prime importance. What is the duty? You follow the duty which is there assigned to you in your family and also assigned to you by your profession.
Okay.
So if my profession is a teacher, it is my duty to give my best.
Right.
And if I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, it is my duty to play the right role at the right places. So this is dharma in simple nutshell. Now, what is right and what is wrong was known by Vidur. So the key role which he played was that he said that after Dhritarashtra and Pandu were born, Pandu ascended the throne, but he gave up the throne because of a curse by a sage. Therefore, Dhritarashtra ascended the throne. So it was not that Dhritarashtra directly inherited the throne. So the right of the next person to ascend the throne belonged to Yudhishthir, who was the elder born. Yudhishthir was born even before the birth of Duryodhan. So Yudhishthir is a right heir to the throne. So, but Dhritarashtra denied it. Duryodhan kept on trying to lynch the throne in some way or the other. And Vidur, with his Vidur Niti, gave certain advice due to which they were unable to do that. They couldn't succeed. Now
Oh,
it so happened that we'll move to the to one story which we need to understand, that Vidurji saved the lives of the Pandavas.
okay.
Yeah, Duryodhan had planned that the Pandavas would be sent to a place called at Varanavata, which is a Lakshagruha, a palace of wax. And Vidur sensed the problem, that there is something very wrong going on. And then, now when he sensed the problem, he warned Yudhishthir. And Yudhishthir became very alert, and he alerted the Pandavas and Kunti also. And when they entered the palace, Vidur sent a very excellent miner who can dig a tunnel from the palace to the forest. So when the Lakshagruha was set on fire, the Pandavas could already sneak out from that place and enter the forest. There Vidur had kept a boat and a boatsman ready, and they sat in the boat and they crossed over the river Ganga and were safe.
Wow.
That was a very important thing which he did, which was a very turning point in the Mahabharata, because Pandavas survived. Otherwise, Mahabharata would have ended in the Lakshagruha, the palace of wax itself.
So Duryodhan just did this for getting
The throne.
the throne. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he was extremely jealous of the Pandavas because Pandavas were good. Were also having a lot of strength. They were more capable, more intelligent,
Mm.
and you can say for example, you know the story of Arjun, who was whose concentration is spoken of even today. An exam So how should your concentration be? Your concentration should be like Arjun, who saw only the eye of the bird and not anything, because that was his target. So if you have to have a target, you should be fully dedicated to it,
And
right?
do you think it is possible to do that today?
What as such?
That concentration, that
Yeah.
vision of just looking at the goal.
Yes. 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 Yes.
You think
So,
so?
like for example, if you have to achieve a goal, you set all things aside and you are focused on that. Now you don't use the word concentration, but now you use the word focus. So having 100% focus on your goal is something which is similar to that of concentration which Arjun had.
Got it. Okay.
So this story is applicable. See, there are a number of stories in the Mahabharata which are applicable even in the present times.
Mm,
And therefore, just to share with you, it is said that whatever is there in this world exists in the Mahabharata. And whatever is not there in Mahabharata does not exist in the entire world.
wow.
That is the greatness of Mahabharata.
Wow. So Vidur Niti contains all of these stories?
Not the stories. Vidur Niti contains the advice which was given to Dhritarashtra. Now, when the Pandavas were, the game of dice and how the Pandavas lost that game, that was also through treachery. And then Draupadi was dragged by her hair and garments in the court. It was Vidur who stood up against the entire assembly to say that Draupadi is the Kulavadhu. She is the daughter-in-law, the honor of the Kuru race, and you're disrobing her in this manner is a sin which you are committing. So Vidur bluntly said this. And then the Pandavas went to the forest, and when they wanted to return back after completing the stipulated time of 12 years in exile and 1 year in incognito, that is living hidden. So when the Pandavas when they returned, they had sent Krishna as the messenger to Dhritarashtra, saying that, see, we have followed dharma as per decided, and we are coming back, so we need to have the share of the throne. And the Pandavas wanted to reconcile to such an extent that they said that never mind if you don't give us half the kingdom, give us just 5 villages. We will be happy with that. And Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, especially Duryodhan, denied. And then Krishna said that you will have to face the consequences. The battle is going to happen, cannot be avoided. And therefore, Dhritarashtra became sleepless and he summoned Vidur. And then to tell him what is dharma, what is correctness, what Vidur said was in those 8 chapters called Vidurniti. That is the background. So he is telling what is dharma, how should you rule the kingdom, how should you follow, how should the judiciary be, how should the behave. One incident, one beautiful shlok which is there in the Vidurniti, which I remember right now, is that see, if you want to extract something from the kingdom, or not kingdom, from the people, like taxes. In the time of Mahabharata also, taxes were levied on the citizens. So if you want to extract taxes, you should not be someone who is uprooting a tree and leaving nothing. But you should be like a gardener who only picks up the flower and does not disturb the tree. So taxes should also be such that they will be that the people will feel okay to pay and will not feel that they have been you can say extracted in with cruelty by the rulers or by the government. So such beautiful advices were given by Vidur in the Vidur Niti.
So, do you think all entrepreneurs or all students or professionals, does Vidurniti help them?
I'm sure, because we can interpret Vidur Niti in that angle.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is timeless wisdom.
Right.
Okay. Only if it is put in the right wording and in the right sense.
Right.
So if we revisit Vidur Niti and see the contents which are there in the Vidur Niti, it is possible for that it can answer the problems which we are facing today. We are in a state of a dilemma as to
Right.
what is right and what is wrong
Correct. All the time.
all the time. So we don't. So it can be a dilemma which is there in going on in the family. It can be a dilemma which the student, the child, when he is growing up, he may face a dilemma. Which side should he take up, and what would be his profession? How should he learn, etc. And this dilemma can be in the profession. How should my strategy be? What should my relation be with my peers? What should my relation be with my boss? And also, how should the boss deal? Not just the lower rank, the higher rank. How should a boss deal with different situations which are there in his enterprise? So it can be interpreted in that particular manner.
Wow, Madhviji. I have a last question, and I also want a commitment from you. Could we
Yeah,
do a very detailed podcast about Vidurniti, going in all of these aspects of how it will help professionals, families, kids that are, like you're saying, they're choosing their profession? Could we
yeah,
get into the detail of it?
yeah. We can get into the detail of it, and I will surely try. I will surely try to interpret Vidur Niti in the present context.
Wow, thank you so much. So we will go to our last question. Um, was Vidurji spiritual, political, or both?
I would say that Vidurji was both,
Okay.
because he had realized that Krishna is not just a common man. Krishna has got the essence of the divine. And you can say that, and you can't call him as political, you can call him as righteous.
Okay.
Because political means, like, he would be a person who would be scheming at times, and at times he would be good. No,
Right.
he was thoroughly good, and he wished the best to the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and he was loyal to the throne in spite of being humiliated. So in the last section of the Mahabharata, when the Pandava, when Dhritarashtra, when all the children of Dhritarashtra have died, and Yudhishthir had ascended the throne, he ruled, but and he would take care of Dhritarashtra very much. But Dhritarashtra was extremely sad because he had no children now. So they decided to go to the forest. Vidur accompanied them even in the forest.
Wow, that's loyalty.
Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
then when the when he when Yudhishthir would go to meet Dhritarashtra and Gandhari in the forest, Kunti also was there along with their Yudhishthir's mother had also accompanied them. He realized that Vidur had disappeared, and so he went in search of him, and he met uh, a person completely, Vidur as a person completely emaciated and was about to give up his life. Now, so Yudhishthir wanted him to come back, but Vidur did not answer anything, and a flame rose from his body, and it entered Yudhishthir. The reason being that Yudhishthir was the son of Yamadharma.
Correct. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And this
And
story is a part of Vidur Niti?
no, it is a part of Mahabharata.
Part of Mahabharata. Okay. 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 Wow. There is so much to Mahabharata as individual
Yes.
characters, right? I mean,
Yes, yes,
so
yes, yes,
much.
yes. Yeah, so much, so much.
Wow. Wow. This is amazing. I don't
Yeah.
think no us as common people understand there is that the
Yeah.
depth of it is so widened. Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Madhviji. I think this was a
Thank you.
fantastic, interesting conversation. I hate to have to stop here. I hoped and wished we had
No,
more
no.
time with you.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to continue the in depth conversation about Vidur
Sure.
Niti. And all those viewers and listeners, if you all are as curious and as excited as me, but also want to get into the detail of Vidur Niti just like I want to, make sure
Yeah.
to be hanging tight. Make sure you listen to this one because this is giving you a glimpse about who Vidurji is. But the next podcast, like Madhviji has promised, is going to give you an in-depth version about Vidur Niti and about Vidurji's life, his wisdom, his teachings to Kauravas and Pandavas, and a lot more. And also how it is relevant in today's day and age. Thank you very much. Thank you again,
Thank
Madhviji,
you.
for your time. I wish you a wonderful and a beautiful weekend ahead. Jai Shri
Thank you.
Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.